or had any contact with Cardijn. And, I mentioned the New York trip when I guess I was hardly in the YCW within the first year. I think my next time was in New Orleans when I was organizing in New Orleans. He came, and I know he spent a couple of days, and I probably was involved in all of that. But I don't remember anything about it. I know he was there, and I know I was with them, but, it was another one of the rallies and visiting, but I don't remember much. However, after he left New Orleans, he came to Baltimore, and he was speaking to a big crowd in Baltimore. I wasn't here, I was still in New Orleans. But my family was pretty upset that I had left home and gone off with the Young Christian Workers, and they wanted me to come home in the worst way. But the priest in the parish decided to get my parents there to hear Cardijn, and Cardijn made this big fuss about the fact that I was doing this wonderful work, and that sort of broke the ice. My parents came along, and from then on there was peace in my working with the Young Christian Workers. The next time I suppose I saw Cardijn was at the council in 1957 was before that. It was in Rome. I forgot about that. But again, it was the big crowd, and much better than the New York thing, because there were 30,000 of us who, ran out into the streets. So we all felt that appreciation for what he brought to all of us, because he had such respect for us, and he made us all feel that we were really important to the world, important to the church, and so all of us young people had a purpose that was, made very special for each of us, and as a group, as a generation, and this, I think, was something that we knew to carry with us forever. We were important people to everyone, and every other young Christian worker, I think, felt that same thing. It was something unique that he instilled in all of us and wanted us to instill in other people as we move forward through life. So this was one of I think, the most important things that Cardijn gave us, an appreciation for the individual. Then my next contact, I suppose, was in Rio for the International Council meeting of the Young Christian Workers. And although he was there for all of it, I remember walking down the hallway with Cardijn in this beautiful hotel where we were all staying, and he said, "Don't you love this place?" He says, "This is the kind of place," he says, "that the young people, all of the young people in the world have a right to experience the luxury of a hotel like this." And then he said, "And why don't you take some time and get some rest and go enjoy the pool?" And I thought, this was a rather strange thing for Cardijn to be telling, one of us to, and I was with him by myself then, just walking down the hallway. Later, I realized that, again, this was a movement that was built in reality, and we were in a place that was beautiful and had all the amenities, and he wanted us to enjoy and appreciate it. And it was very human. So, we think of Cardijn as being this somebody out there who we all cherish, and we do. And he was a great man, but he was a very human person, very real. I think the last time I saw him was in probably around 1962. And I had left the movement. I was upset about the direction that the movement was taking in the United States, because I felt then that it was becoming much more of an educational movement, the book learning type, rather than what many of us thought it should be, and that was the more formation through action. And of course, this was difficult, to be questioning the movement at that time, because, it was controversial to be questioning it. And Cardijn, though, made a couple of us realize that this was a problem that he had seen, and that we just had to have faith that the movement would continue because, there were so many people who had already been through it. And he was very consoling, as some of us were facing disappointment with the movement. I think of, the influence of Cardijn. He didn't do a lot of writing. The Challenge to Action, which was a compilation of things that he said, along with, something later that I know he edited, which is another compilation, I think, Laymen into Action. The few times we heard him speak, there was so much that he gave us in a theology that made life, especially for lay people, full of purpose, a purpose that we didn't realize was so special. I see us as the people who have the real responsibility for the world and for making the world the best place we can make it, for to really work with our Creator and our Redeemer to really make this world a real kingdom. And he saw us lay people as those who had that responsibility, and he challenged us to take it on us, work with others in community to do our best to bring about that kingdom on earth. So it was real, it was human, and that word incarnate keeps coming through after all these years. I think there are just a few things that Cardijn instilled in us, which is probably a type of theology, but it's a way to live in reality, and to make reality, to sanctify it. So I don't know what else I can say about him, but this whole movement has defined my life and defined many other people's lives in just doing the ordinary things that we're supposed to do. And some of those ordinary things turn out to be, great. Maybe we don't know what's happening as a result of some of the things that many of the people in the movement have done. But from time to time, we hear about somebody who's done something, and we realize that's another YCW person. And the influence of Cardijn, we know, has spread throughout the world. And hopefully, we can keep it going.